Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Phyllis Nash. I'm your Chief Sales Officer here at Akana. Love being a part of this wonderful culture and community. And I want to get out of the way so we can bring up our phenomenal speaker this morning, someone that travels the world speaking, encouraging, motivating, coaching people into their success. And we get to have them right here in Akana as our VP of training. And guys, we are so blessed to have the pleasure of having our own Coach Dan, our own Pastor Dan, our own phenomenal Dan. And are you out there? Please take it away.
Great morning, great morning, Connor family. Hey, my Miss Phyllis, how
Yeah,
you doing?
you always trying to scare me, taking a minute or so to come on, but I know you're out there. Take it away.
That's because y'all mute the phones, and then I gotta figure out how to hit the buttons twice and all of that stuff. And yeah, and so I'm a little slower, a little delayed. But at any rate, I am here. Man, I am in the rainy city of Miami. I am in the rainy city of Miami. It has been, I've had an awesome time here. We've been working with, I've been working with some of the, with one of the best speaking coaches I think on the planet that has coached the likes of Tony Robbins, coached the likes of um, Grant Cardone, Pete Vargas, all of these people, and so I thought that it may make sense for me to come to be coached, and then while I was here, somehow or another they figured out some stuff, and we began to I began to coach some other people, and and so we've done well since we've been here. And one of the things that I have really learned from the sessions that I've had with the individuals that I've been coaching since for the past several days is that I learned a couple of things. And one of the things is that is so very important to become one with your story. Now you may say, well, Coach, you didn't just learn that. You're right, I didn't just learn it, but what I did realize, I should say, is that many people, and y'all excuse my voice, I've been speaking all week, um, but what I did realize is that many people know it, but the presentation of it just doesn't work because a lot of times it takes us too much time to tell our story. And by the time we tell our story, we get it out, people who have already tuned us out. And so what we begin to do is help individuals frame their story in a way where they're able to get it out within 2 minutes or less. And then make certain when they're framing their story to get it out within 2 minutes or less, make certain that they have proper transitions from the story that they're sharing and telling to the product and services that they're offering or selling. Because sometimes we just go in and we tell our story, but when we tell our story, we don't give the time for the story to connect. And then when it's time to give our offer or whatever the case which it is, or as you guys know, properly position the proposition, when it's time to do that, it's like there's no smooth transition. So you sound like you're just doing a lot of talking. I'll give you an example of a session that I had with one of the business owners that was here. This particular individual, he competed in what they call this speak off, and he came in third place. And I'm gonna post his testimony on my social media. My team has it; they're working on it. about after he came in third place, he had a session with me and what happened to his business, what happened to his time from that session. But I'm going to kind of share just a little bit about the session. I want you to take some notes as it pertains to the session we had. I'll give you his story first and foremost. He's the youngest of 10 people, youngest of 10 children, but he's the only survivor. His mother had gastro bypass surgery. Later on, she would get sick. Don't know if it was related to the gastro bypass surgery or not. And as she was getting ready to transition, she said to her son, you know, you don't have to get a surgery. You could lose the 525 pounds. You could lose some of that weight naturally on your own. Long story short, the young man goes into a downward spiral, become an alcoholic, become a drug addict, or whatever the case may be. And then he found himself high and drunk in the passenger seat of a car. I believe they had an accident. And then from there, he said that he went back home, and a week later, he decided that he needed to change. And what he didn't have was a plan. And so what he does is he gives people a plan. He helps people build a plan, change their life. Well, there's a couple of things that he missed, a couple of opportunities he missed, because what I said to him is, I really didn't see how the story connected to the plan or to what it is you're offering, because you never connected it. One of the things I need you guys to understand, when you are sharing about Akana, one of the things that is very, very, very important that you do is that you really have to make not only the heart connection with the person that's listening, but you got to make the head connection. And the head connection that you're making is getting them to critically think about how, and getting them to see, watch this, how your problem was their problem. Write that down. Your problem was their problem. You want to get them to a place where they begin to feel your pain, where they could relate. So what I said to the gentleman, I said, what happens if you opened up the story similar, something like this? How many of you have ever lost someone you loved? I was the youngest of 10. And I began to lose my siblings. I lost my father. Then one day, my mother, who had gastro bypass surgery, blah, 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 I lost her. And I don't know if any of you, and I'm sure like many of you, you've lost someone and you know what that pain feels like. So now what we've done is we made a connection. We made a connection. And then, so that's connection one. Connection two is, what did you do as a result of that loss? I'm using this as an example. What did you do? How did it impact you? And then you say, and many people handle losses differently. I was an energetic young man. I had life, this, that, and the other. But I began to downward spiral. I began to drink. I began to do this. I began to self-sabotage my life because because I felt like I had no reason to live, even though I had a dream, even though I had this, even though I had that. And so we go through that. point number two is first you make that connection where they could relate, but then you talk about the impact of the story and the problem as a result of the pain. So let's look at it. Number one, you're sharing your story, and in sharing your story, you identify a problem that not only you have, but the person that you're talking to has. And you do that by consultative selling in the beginning. You don't just start off telling your story when you're doing a one-on-one. You start off asking questions to get to understand who your person that is in front of you that you're talking to if you don't know them. And when you're doing that, you're looking for what their problem is that you have the ability to solve with what it is that you have in your products or services. You're looking for the problem that you have the ability to solve. That's what you're looking for. And as you're talking and sharing your story, you're also showing that you too had the same problem. You're sharing that you too had the same problem, and you're sharing the impact that the problem had on you. So they can more relate. Yeah, that's me, you're talking to me. And then you share how what you have became the solution, how you found the solution for you. And you could help them with that solution. Then you connect the solution to solving their problem. Because people buy from people that they can relate to. People buy from people they feel connected to. People buy from people that they feel can help them solve a problem, their problem. So once you do that, and you tell them you got the solution, in your selling, you give them something for free. It can be information. It don't have to be. It could be you sampling the product for them. It could be any of those things. And so we broke all of those things down for him. And then I said, so the way you work is you're changing. You help people create plans to be successful. I said, so what's the name of that? He didn't have a name of it. Y'all remember last week I told you for those that was going to Naptown, call it Never Again Poor campaign. Because it's catchy, it's something that people can relate to. That was the reason. It solves the person's problem. The person's problem that is solved is the individual that says, I never again want to be broken, want to be poor. And so in this particular case, I said, so what did you do? He said, well, once I made the decision, I started walking around the block. I started walking. And he said, it wasn't much. I did one block at a time. And here I am, 250 pounds lighter. I said, well, this is what you can do. You could say, I knew that if I was going to save my life, if I was going to get out of this rut, that I was going to have to start somewhere. Now, what are you doing when you do that? When you say that, I was going to have to start somewhere. Come on. Y'all going to catch this in 2 seconds. I was going to have to start somewhere. Where I was going to have to start with an experience, an elevation experience. That's somewhere. I was going to have to start with the juice somewhere. I was going to have to start with the 7-day detox somewhere. I was going to have to start with the 21-day detox somewhere. And so now you're sharing with them. Think about what's happening. They felt, they related to your problem. They related to your pain. You have the solution. And now automatically you move them from the objection that I can't afford a kind of life or path. I can't afford this. I can't afford that, because you told them basically in your story that you knew you had to start somewhere. And so then from there, we went into the building blocks of making a change. And that's what we wind up calling his piece, because he said that he went block by block. That's how we connected it. And so, again, he would go on. He won. So we had our first session. Oh, when we had our session, the first session, he had not won yet. He won and became third place in the Golden Ticket, which is an opportunity to speak on a major stage where people have made millions and millions of dollars. And so that's one, and you'll hear his testimony at some point on our social media, their editing and all of that. And so another example of how I landed while I was here, a client who and using the same principles, how I landed a client who's a millionaire out of New York to become their coach. Here's how we did it. And first of all, you just got to care about people. So you can't be out here not caring about people. And when you see these testimonials that we're going to have put up, you're going to see that all of it is based on caring about people. Bottom line is, this one young lady spent $600,000 trying to figure out how to be successful in a new business space. Everywhere she went, she was taken advantage of. Everywhere she went. So during our time of talking, she began to cry, like weep like a baby. And she began to cry. I told her, I understand how you feel. When I first started out, one of my biggest frustrations, I spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars investing in coaching and all of this type of stuff with all of these promises, and nobody was able to fulfill the promise. It seemed like it was all one big scam. So as I began to talk like that, her pain resonated and she began to cry. And it's true, I did spend a bunch of money. She began to weep even more. And then from there, I said, but that's why I'm here, because I figured out a solution. And in my solution, I figured out I wind up building multiple companies with less than $100, 2 companies to 7 figures and multiple companies to 6 figures. And the way that I was able to do it was this. And then she told me her last problem, that she paid somebody $75,000 and got nothing. And I gave her the solution to that problem. As we were talking through, gave her a solution to the pain that she was experiencing, to heal the pain that she was experiencing in her problem. Write that down. Provide a solution to heal the pain that a person is experiencing as a result of their problem. Provide a solution to heal the pain that the person is experiencing as a result of their problem. And so now I will be coaching this particular individual. And I told her, because I believe in what I do, you pay me as the results are coming in. You've already invested too much. You've wasted too much. Pay me as the results are coming in. And she insisted that she pay me something beforehand, because we solved the problem for her right then on the spot. We gave a solution for her right then on the spot. And I'm saying to you, as you properly position your product, you got to become one with your story. Now, Ms. Phyllis will say this is nothing new. You've heard this before. You have heard this. In the first 48 hours, we talk about crafting your story. But your story just can't be a story that you tell. Your story you got to pick the part of your story that relates the most to the person that's listening. And there's a way that you could structure your talk and structure your story based on who's listening, and it be the same story. I don't tell people that every time I tell my story, I don't say that both of my parents was drug addicts, my mother was a cocaine addict, my father was a heroin addict. I don't say that every time I tell my story. I don't say every time I tell my story that I was homeless and I slept in cars. I don't say that. I don't say every time I tell my story that I had 4 suicide attempts on my life and I failed at even trying to kill myself. I was so good at failing, I couldn't even kill myself right. I don't tell all of those stories. I don't tell the stories of me being molested to every time I tell my story. My story, even though all of it is part of my story is built within the framework when I share it that's most relatable to the audience that I'm sharing it with. Even though all those things are true. You pick the part of the story that's most, and you frame it that's most relatable to the person that's listening. If I'm dealing with a group and it's about relationships, I'm not going to tell them that I went from, being broke to where I am today financially. I'm not gonna tell them that. They're dealing with relationships. They're dealing with bad marriages. I'm gonna tell them that, hey, I understand what you're saying. I got married and I got a divorce. I failed. And the impacts of that divorce, I'm gonna talk about that. I hope you guys are understanding this. And Akana has so much to offer. We just have to, here we go. I'm always going to say it. I told you on every call, you're going to hear me say it. We have to learn how to properly position our proposition. We have to know what to offer and when. A doctor has the ability to offer all kind of medicine and medication to the patients that he or she is servicing. But the doctor prescribes the medicine that should be most suitable to solve the pain that is a result of the problem that the patient is having. If you're going to be a health and wellness coach, if you're going to be a doctor, air quote, if you will, then you have to provide. You have to know what medicine to prescribe to what patient, and you got to know how much they can handle, how much they can't handle. Can I tell you that the first medicine they're ever going to take for their healing is you? Because if they don't take your medicine, they're not going to take anything else you write. So ask yourself, how are you becoming the medicine defined in this context as the very thing that the person that you're prescribing to needs in order to find healing from the pain that is caused by their problem? Hey, listen, wow, it's 8:29, 8:20 was 9:20, and 8:24. So we're far beyond our time. I do apologize for taking that license to go longer. I didn't even realize it. I'm going to pass this back to Ms. Phyllis, but I really pray that you've grasped hold to the essence of what I'm sharing as you begin to continue to build and to grow your business and to help people become healed of the pain as a result of the problem that they're having. Go out there and be solutionists today. Prosper.
Awesome. I need to say amen. Well, we coached by Coach Dan or Pastor Dan because you delivered the message. But as much as we talk, Dan, do you know that I was invited to that event? And that because we were coming back from Indianapolis, I said, I'm not going to be able to do that back to back. And I'm glad I didn't, because I was wiped out after Indianapolis. But I'm going to Colorado in December to that same event. And I know you just are full of it. You're going to bring it back and share it. You shared with us this morning, and you right, you went over, but it was well worth the time because we got so many nuggets. So many nuggets. And I thank you so much for that. And we need to
You are
talk about
welcome. Y'all pray for me. Stormy Wellington asked me to stay over, and for her event tonight. I just don't know if I'm gonna be able to, but we'll see because we want to continue. She and I were talking, probably had breakfast this morning, and we're going to continue to figure out how to help some people heal from the pain of the problems that they're having. So
a lot of hurt.
it's a great event. It's a lot of pain, but we got solutions, Phyllis. We got solutions with Akana.
Yep. So, guys, before we let you go, let me talk about the 12 days of Black Friday. And if you go to your back office, not only are you going to see today's specials, which is the Power Hemp MD. Yes, that is the Power Hemp MD today. And also the Flight 25 in the bottom. You're going to get 40% off of those two items today. And guess what? Because we had a 3-hour internet outage yesterday, the deal from Monday, which is the juice, as well as the deal from yesterday, which is the Power Gummies, they are still on board. So you can get all of them. Just hit shop, go to 12 days of Black Friday, and you are able to purchase any of those. I want you to tell each and every one of your customers, the distributors that are not on the phone, 40% off is just insane, guys. So you need to take advantage of that. And so go out and push. And thank you so much, Coach Dan. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning. Bye now.